Today's jobs report looks like a game changer to me. Our happy days here again. However, Republicans are correctly noting that 31 months into the Reagan recovery, 8.7 million jobs were created. During the same 31 months under President Obama, only 1.9 million. The post-war average, by the way, at this stage of recovery is 3.9 million. All right, let's talk. We're joined now by House Budget Committee member Paul Tonko. He's Democrat from New York State, and Cathy McMorris Rodgers, Republican from Washington and Vice Chair of the House Republican Conference. Cathy McMorris Rodgers, welcome back. Now, I've been reading today, you feel this is not such great news and that the Reagan recovery is the one we should strive for.
Absolutely. We can do better. This is economic recovery despite the policies driven by President Obama that continue to make it very difficult for people in America that want to create jobs. For example, what if the president would have said yes to the Keystone Project? How would have that impacted this jobs report? I continue to hear from small business owners, from people that are out there trying to create jobs, that the policies driven by this administration have not just made it difficult, they're making it harder and worse on our economy. And whether it's the stimulus package that was passed 3 years ago, this month, $787 billion in new spending, and the president said, if you pass this stimulus, unemployment won't go above 8%. Well, we know that wasn't the case. This is a 36th month where unemployment's been above 8%. We had health care reform. We've had a long list.
All right, there are obstacles, Mr. Paul Tonko, but I want to ask you, is it possible, I'm going to be very balanced on this question, is it possible, as many of the Team Obama is saying, that the stimulus is working, it just took longer? Is that going to be your point of view?
I think it's absolutely the case. I disagree with my friend in Washington State. I think now that we have seen 23 months in a row of private sector job growth, that's a good indicator. And today, looking at the close at the market, Larry, that was powerful news.
You look at the stock market as a congressman?
Why not?
That is awesome.
Why not?
Totally awesome.
I think the Dow Jones Industrial Average rising to a point better than before the 2008 financial crisis, growing by some 130 points, was an awesome outcome, as was the NASDAQ index, where we saw an 11-year high come into play. So you can't argue with that success, and I think my colleagues in the majority in the House, the Republicans, simply cannot take yes for an answer.
All right, Cathy, you heard Paul Tonko. Now, the stock market is voting in favor of a better recovery, but I just want to ask you, look, these jobs are starting to roll in. They're not as strong as Reagan. That's just a statement of fact. I get that. But why do we need a budget-busting, Social Security-busting, temporary payroll tax cut if things are getting better? It seems like a waste of money that could really destroy Social Security. Why do we need this payroll tax cut?
Well, I would say that the economy is still very slow. It's very sluggish. We still have 8.3% that are unemployed. When you look at the people that have just simply stopped looking for a job, it's near 10.5% of the population. There are still a large number of people in America that are struggling or have been laid off or trying to find work and can't. And this economy has been very slow, and the administration has been taking the approach that government and government jobs is more the answer. You look at the Solyndra approach by the president, using taxpayer dollars to support a particular company, versus what I believe is a better approach through private sector, through a Keystone Project and other free market approaches to getting our economy going.
All right,
again.
but Paul Tonko, I'll ask you a similar question. Why do we need another 99 weeks of unemployment insurance where you're paying people not to work when it's very clear that for whatever reason and motive, the economy is doing better? Why, again, isn't this just a waste of money? Wouldn't this even deter employment?
Yeah, I think the Congresswoman is arguing against the facts. We have had 23 months in a row now of private sector job growth, so it is working. I think the president's policies are working, and he has asked that Congress get out of the way, just allow for progress to continue with the policies, provide for the reigniting of the American dream, do it through small business investment, do it through the underpinnings of support for entrepreneurs.
And having getting tax reform,
I think you need a thriving middle class to get that circulation of money out there, and I think the payroll tax holiday was a strengthener, and I think we should find a pay for, move forward.
You won't. You won't pay for. Cathy McMorris Rodgers, I give you the last word. I am reading articles all over the web today that you are going to be the vice presidential candidate on the Republican ticket. Daily Caller, whole bunch of articles. Is it true? Can you tell us on this show tonight that you're going to be running for the V position?
Well, it's flattering to have my name mentioned, Larry. I can tell you I've been focused on representing the great people of Eastern Washington, and that's been my focus. And the economic recovery that we've seen in America is despite the policies by President Obama. We need a new president, and that is what is most important as we approach November 2012.
All right. That's a harbinger of the election argument. You two get along pretty well. Paul Tonko of Albany, New York, if that's fair, and Cathy McMorris Rodgers of the great state of Washington. Thank you both on a Friday evening. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Larry.
All right, everyone, that's it for tonight's show. Let me just say to conclude